everyone, so today I'm back in Kirkby and Ashfield and also at the side of Annesley. You might have watched a video only last week where I visited Kirkby and Ashfield and went off towards Annesley Tunnel and found little remains of the old tunnel. So today I'm at Grives Lane level crossing. This is the Nottingham to Mansfield to Worksop line again. We saw this in the other video, and Kirkby Tunnel is just out of sight down there. So we're at the northern portal, the Annesley Newstead end in the last video. So this time I've come to the Kirkby and Ashfield end, and I'm going to see if we can trace anything. So what happened here, Annesley Tunnel was lower down in a cutting at the Annesley end, and at some point it passed underneath the active Kirkby Tunnel. This railway line right here, it intersects and one goes under the other, and this is the one, it goes on top and heads off towards Mansfield. So let's plod on a little way down here. I've got to veer off to the right a little bit and pick up where I'm hoping to find the old cutting of the former Great Central line. So let's take a moment and have a look at railmaponline.com. So you can see the large area in front of you, and this map is currently showing the 3 different sections, areas that we'll be visiting in 3 individual videos. Now we'll zoom into the section we're looking at today, and you can see that that is where Kirkby Tunnel and Annesley Tunnel is. The Great Central Mainline is the blue line, the red lines are the Great Northern Railway, and the yellow are the Midland Railway. And today we're going to be looking from where the portal, the northern portal of Annesley Tunnel was. We shall then bypass where Kirkby South Junction was and leave the Robin Hood line behind. And you'll see that the line splits in two, the Great Central line splits in two. The lower section heading off as the main line towards Sheffield, and the upper line curving away and up towards Mansfield. And we'll finish our journey today on the approach to the Mansfield and Pinxton line. That is the yellow one on the map. So although there's no clear evidence of where the tunnel once was, the portal was pretty much just there. So the level crossing is just about there, and the portal of Annesley Tunnel is long buried over there. Its demise was probably sealed around about the time that the Robin Hood line opened for public use. Immediately after the tunnel portal there was Kirkby South Junction, and this is where the Great Northern Railway joined on to the Great Central line off the line heading off towards Mansfield further up, and the Mansfield to Pinxton line. So over there we've got Portland Park, and that is where we're going to end up towards the final stages of this first video in this set of 3. I'm going to go over there because that is where the Nottingham to Mansfield to Worksop line shoots over there, and we can pick up part of the cutting over there of the former Great Central line. I'm hoping to get down in there, and if I can, see how far I can actually get. It could be some pretty nice relics down there. So this is Linley's Lane 101, and that is the overbridge that carries the Robin Hood line, and it was also South Kirkby Junction, which takes this line off towards Mansfield, but also our cutting shot straight over there for the Great Central line, and I'm hoping to find that cutting right now. So this is where it's about to get a whole lot of interesting. So obviously we could not find any remnants of Annesley Tunnel portal, We've got the Nottingham to Worksop line, but this would have been where Kirkby South Junction was. And down here, I think we're going to find something extraordinary. I think we're going to find our deep, long cutting. Also at this point down here, the Great Central line split into two. So on the left hand side, it would have headed off towards Sheffield, and on the right hand side, it was going to take the line off towards Mansfield and Clipston. So let's engage with this little bit of pathway and see what we're about to find. And look at this. There's our Great Central cutting just down there. And that's the infilled cutting taking us back towards Annesley Tunnel. And our route down appears to be on the right hand side. So I think that's where I'm going to go. Let's make our way down. This is extraordinary, isn't it? Look at that stone walling all the way along. Looking at maps, I believe this is about a quarter of a mile before it hits the Pinkston and Mansfield Railway further down. This is extraordinary, isn't it? I bet it's very rarely trodden by anyone. More likely wildlife. Let's get down further still. And I'm going to see how far I can actually get along here. Because it appears to be severely flooded down the bottom. So as I say, the line split into two. To the left, off towards Sheffield, bypassing Bentinck Colliery, where we're going in the third part of this small series of videos. And on the right hand side, taking us off towards Mansfield and Clipston. Look at this, this is amazing. It's like a refuge in the retaining wall. That is remarkable, isn't it? So you don't imagine this is all silted up and weeded up a lot, so it would have gone down a hell of a lot more. What a surprise. It's so difficult to have actually got down here as well. It's very, very squidgy and swampy, and that is great. I wonder if there are any more. Doesn't really look like I'm going to be able to get much further though, sadly. So I've just made it through that. That's really tricky. That's all swampy down there. Got another curious little section, look, where the walling takes a completely different stance. Just above it, there's like an iron bracket sticking out, look, out the wall. Is that for signalling purposes? Does anybody know what that would have been? I don't think I can really get any closer. Hang on. There it is. That little bracket sticking out there. And this curious little recess kind of part of the wall. I've actually managed to get considerably further than I thought I would along here. It's like a swamp down there, but it looks like it may dry out a little further up. It's a case of getting through all of this. It's quite wide here, isn't it? Maybe 3 tracks wide. So rocky cutting over on that side, but it's still the stone walling on the side that I'm on. curious little structure. Look, blue brick, just part way up the cutting. I've come on the opposite side now, and it must be about 7-8 meters in width, and the same curious brickwork on the other side. Look, it's got one brick missing, so it's clearly double bricked, whatever it is or was. Now if we just go over here, we can see more foundations and brickwork dead opposite. Wonder what that could have been. It only goes about as far as there and ends just about there, look. And the bricks in that section are at that same angle as that one, look. Now I would have thought it'd be any kind of bridge, because that's that stone walling and that's far too high on the other side. What a curious little thing that is, if anybody knows what the purpose of those were. So taking a look at this old map dating back to around about 1900. We've got Kirkby South Junction over here on the right, and we've got the Mansfield and Pinxton Railway on the left hand side. And now these little supports that we've found look like they were from a footbridge. You can see FB written on the map just there, look. And there's a little line going across the line which would have been for a footbridge. So FB stands for footbridge, and that clears up what these brick supports were for. Also note that the Mansfield line is not present on this map, as this line did not open until 1917. I'm going to stay on this side now for a while because it has cleared, look. It's much drier on foot. There's the stone walling over there. There's been no further recesses since that very first one I found. Curious piece of concrete there with a wooden piece sticking out of it. Another little bit of brickwork here, look, which has come from somewhere. Possibly the remains of a sleeper just here too. I think that stone walling is about to come to an abrupt end a little further down. Right, so I'm up top at the moment because I want to give you a perspective of what it looked like from up here looking down. So just there we've got our extremely long stone walling. Next up we've got the track bed which took it off towards Mansfield, and beyond that we'll jump down another level, and that is the line off towards Sheffield, the Great Central Mainline, which is going to bypass Bentinck Colliery. And I'm following a section now which is a little bit sketchy, but just to give you a bit of a perspective of what it's like. So occasionally I'm going to be jumping up top with the footage just to give you the eye down on what it was like. So just a quick jump down back to railmaponline.com, and I want to show you exactly where we are again. So we're at the section where there's a higher level and a lower level, and the higher level is the line that heads off towards Mansfield, and the lower level is the line, the main line, that heads off towards Sheffield. So our stone walling has come to its conclusion. So it's been with us all the way from where the tunnel portal is laid buried, and it's all the way down here covered in moss, and then just stops. Now I'm at a higher level here than where I was down there, and you might have noticed a couple of shots ago there's a lot more chunks of brickwork down there. Not really sure how much further I'm going to get along here. Might need to jump back down to the lower section again. Here's a curious little thing. Look at that. It's a kind of like coping stones, isn't it? For something. It doesn't seem to go anywhere. It's not like it's been buried or infilled. In fact, I'd say it's collapsed a touch by about 10-20 centimetres. It's at an angle there. But that's pretty cool. No idea what that would have been for. On the opposite side, the only trace of anything we've got is a big clump of bricks laid fallen but stuck together just there. But there's been a few of them scattered all the way down this track bed. Anyone knows what this was for? Let me know. Now we do seem to be on a gradual gradient downwards, and what this should do is intersect the line which goes through Pinkston. Not a very busy line, 2 or 3, 4 workings a day. So if we do get near it, I'm not expecting to see anything. I think I can see something over here though. That's got to be something to do with the railway, hasn't it? And there's some more concrete remains over here. Look, some sort of base, and maybe for signalling again. There's a little bit more just there, look. And here we are, we're at the other end of that fantastic and historical Great Central Railway cutting. That's Portland Park down there. I'm going there next, and I'm going to walk around to begin part 2 of this series, which involves a curious little structure. And what happens next, the railways in this area become that little bit more difficult and complicated, extremely tricky now. Over there we've got the Pinkston to Mansfield line. That is down that dip in that cutting, and our split line, the one off to Mansfield and the one off to Sheffield, it went over that line and appeared at the junction of the Great Northern Spur, which joined onto this very same Great Central line. You've got the Bentinck Colliery line coming in, and that was a bit of a dead end. It was very busy around there. So I'll see you in the next video, where we're going to pick up this route just a little bit more. Bye bye for now.